here. And this is just a list of things that I would like all of you, as we're going through this analysis, we're going to be picking out certain things. But I would like all of you to keep this list in mind. So let me share it here. So this list that I've put together here is a list of different things that Cameron and I will most often look at when we are analyzing animation and trying to figure out what makes it work. And as well, how can we apply the things that we see and put it into our own shots? Now, this is not the be-all, end-all. This is literally the list I put together 10 minutes before the stream because I thought, hey, maybe it would be helpful for people. But this is a list that you can all use when you are looking at your own shots, when you're looking at other people's shots, when you're doing analysis of a film, and use it to find out what makes things work. So to kind of summarize the list, we've got 4 different categories. And yes, you are definitely allowed to screenshot this. Once I've put a little bit more together, because again, this was like 10 minutes before the stream, just trying to type things out, asking Cameron, did I forget anything? And I know I did. So I'll be sharing this once it's all finalized, but feel free to take a screenshot right now if you want.
Smile.
Smile. Yeah.
Wait, other side.
Yeah. No, wait. There you go. Ah. And Heidi, thank you so much for the sub. Gaming Card. Gee, I keep saying the name first. Gaming Card, thank you so much for another gift. Gee,
that's so awesome.
So the list is divided into 4 categories. We've got the principles of animation, which we've talked a lot about on the stream. We've got the principles of posing, which is not an official list. Like it's not the same thing as the 12 principles of animation, which is
this
like
is the list that we made.
Yeah, this is the list that Cameron and I go through when we pose things. It's our own list. There is character elements or acting elements. And gaming card bits as well. Jeez, thank you so much. Oh man, jeez, thank you so much.
Another hype train.
Oh, gaming car, you are driving this train down this tracks at a high speed. Jeez, thank you so much.
Thank you so much, gaming car.
So we've got character elements. So these are the characters as a character, the acting choices that go behind them. And then we have the cinematography, which is the camera placement. Now, I'm not going to go through each of these items in depth, but just as a quick summation, as we're looking at animation and any scene, and this also applies honestly to live action as well, we are looking at the 12 principles of animation. How are they applying squash and stretch to a moment? How are they applying follow through? How are they applying the timing? How fast are things moving? We're analyzing each one of those things, not all at once, but when we see something, ooh, the timing felt really good on there. Okay,
yeah,
we'll look
this
into
is something that when you look at this list, it may seem overwhelming. But what it is when you watch a film and you go, oh, that looked so good. Try to figure out why it looked good. And you're just looking at that one small segment. Was it the way they moved in? So the way they moved in kind of rules out certain elements, and you're just kind of focused on how fast they came in. How did they stop? All these things, it's, you're not trying to look at the entire film and go, checklist, movie, checklist, movie. It's, you're just kind of looking for the things that stand out to you and make you go, oh, that looked really good.
Yeah. Same thing with the posing principles. Posing is a huge part of animation. We're going to talk about this a lot in the analysis here. And for people who have been in our streams before, you know how much we talk about posing. Posing is the other side of animation. If you think of it like a coin, you've got animation on one side, you flip the coin, posing is the other side.
It's literally just as important, if not more important in some ways, than the actual motions.
If you don't have appealing poses, none of the animation is going to be interesting. And technically, posing is a principle of animation. It's
drawing.
Listed under solid drawing because the principles of animations were created back in the days when it was drawing 2D. There was no CG. Nowadays, we tend to call it posing. So making sure that you apply these principles of posing into there helps to push that even more. And yes, posing is difficult. Posing is really, really hard. And it's just honestly practice. And can you list things that add appeal?
Yeah. In terms of adding appeal, honestly, it's adding all of these things.
Yeah.
Like the 12 principles of posing, making sure your character isn't just standing straight, adding a little bit, I'm a little off center here. Making sure your character is not just straight, adding a little bit of contrapposto, adding a little bit of line of action, maybe leaning them a little further so they're not just standing perfectly straight, but their hips are now maybe even past their feet and their body comes back over to keep them balanced, which is another principle, balance. And then maybe, again, avoiding symmetry. So think of your asymmetry. Think of posing the arms a little different. Think of maybe tilting the head. Think of your twist. All these things add appeal. So there's no just magic appeal button. It's layering in all these things, and then exaggeration is a big one. Pushing all of those even further.
Yeah. Now, just a note on appeal. Appeal is not just posing and like the visual, like, oh, it's pretty kind of thing. And it's just kind of a misnomer of the word appeal. Usually when we use it in language, oh, it's appealing, it's pretty, a flower is appealing. Yeah. A thorny bush is not, it's scraggly. We'll use a different word for it. Appeal in animation means that the thing that we are creating captures the feeling we want to give. So for example, a horrifying monster that's just scary to look at, it inspires fear, is appealing because it does what it's supposed to. It creates that feeling of fear that we want the audience to feel.
Pennywise the clown is appealing.
Yeah, exactly. Godzilla is appealing, even though he's got this weird skin texture.
Shin Godzilla.
Yeah, Shin Godzilla is horrifying and his mouth opens up in this horrible, weird way. It's appealing because it creates that feeling of like awe and horror. And by awe, it's not the awe, it's the like, oh my God.
My
you just
goodness.
This is horrifying and amazing at the same time.
Like a tsunami can be appealing.
Yeah.
Even though it's
a horrible,
disastrous.
Yeah, it's a disaster, a natural disaster of epic proportions. There's a certain appeal to it.
And that kind of ties into like those movies that are like 2000 or 2021 or all of those movies about like the end of the earth or the destruction of the world. That destruction of like Independence Day with the White House being blown up. Like there's an appeal there because it's like it's that satisfying like watching something get blown up.
The weird human satisfaction of explosions. So appeal is not just making things look pretty, but making it feel right for the situation, which actually goes to your next question. And I did see an earlier question. We will get to that as well. Which you had a question here. You add curves, you add stuff, but then people say that they don't understand why the character is doing this in the pose, and they mentioned that, or you said, I don't know who this character is. That is actually the next thing with appeal. Is what makes appeal work is that appeal has to fit the situation. And this is where we go into the next category of character and acting. When you are animating any scene, and we're going to see this a lot in Encanto, I'm going to point out a lot of elements.
Yeah, we're going to be talking a lot about character motivations.
What makes scenes work is that every character has their own reasons for doing something. They are not just a character or a rig put into a situation and they're just doing the action. They are a character. They have wants, they have needs, they have thought processes. There are questions you can ask of who, what, where, when, why, how. Like, who is this character? What were they doing? Where are they going? When are they doing this?
Where were they?
Yeah, and like these questions, it's not just what are they doing? It's what are they feeling? What is their motivation? What do they want? You can ask all these questions. The more questions you ask, the more clear you're going to get. You have one character, or let's say two characters doing the exact same thing. Maybe they're eating, let's say, a bowl of soup. One character maybe they're eating this soup and they've just had a big meal already. They're stuffed. They're up to here with food. So they're going to be eating it as okay, one more spoonful. They got to finish this. Their grandmother's not going to let them leave the table before this meal is done. It's going to be this slow, arduous, like, and just try to swallow it down. Whereas you have another character eating the same bowl of soup, same rig, same everything, but maybe they haven't eaten in a week. So you see this bowl of soup and, oh yeah, spoon? Who cares about a spoon? They're just going to take the bowl and like drink it. And it's going to be spilling all over the place because they just can't get enough.
And then they'll just grab the ladle and put more into their
put
bowl.
More. A second helping, third helping. Who cares about the bowl? Just eat from the whole pot.
And then in terms of that applying to posing, the one who's eating slow might just be kind of sitting back, his guts kind of distended. He's undone his belt and his pants. And it's just like he's looking at that bowl and he has to reach over and it's like... mm-hmm. Whereas the other one will be leaning over the bowl and just like downing it. So the entire pose will be completely different.
The entire animation, everything that the character is doing and how they react to the same situation.
And all the principles of animation will be done differently as well. The timing, the spacing, the arcs. Everything
will depend on who they are and what they're doing, what the subtext of the scene is. All of that is important. And if we don't know that, and this is actually a common issue that we fell into when we were students, that we see many students fall into. If you're animating a shot, let's say Cameron's animating a shot, and I ask him, who's this character and why are they doing this? And if he goes, I don't know, he hasn't done enough research. If he goes, oh, they're doing this because before the story started, before the shot started, some history. They know, if Cameron knows the story, great. That's perfect. He knows why he's making this character do these things. So the more questions you ask, the better.
If I answer, well, my character was doing this before, and Bo goes, well, it doesn't read, that is an indication that it's not showing through clearly.
Yeah.
But you know where to go from there because it's not just, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like if I, for example, said, well, my character just rolled out of bed and he's super tired as he's going to the kitchen. And Bo goes, well, he doesn't look tired. He doesn't look like he just rolled out of bed. Rather than just going, well, the character looks stiff and not being able to give feedback, Bo can go, well, maybe make him slump more. Really sell that floppy, exhausted feeling as
maybe
he walks.
Like especially if he's coming out of bed and he's supposed to be all messed up and like hasn't prettied himself up. Maybe one eye is more closed than the other, and he's still got the grime in his eyes, so he's like
the one side of his face kind of hanging down,
rubbing his face and like wiping the drool from his mouth.
Yeah.
So you can suddenly take that exaggeration. When people say, oh, exaggerate your pose, it's not just push a line of action and make things more. It's make things read more clearly. So if he's going to be tired, it's, again, not just a line of action.
Tiredness.
It's what can they do? What can you do as the animator to make that read?
How can you make them look utterly dead on their feet?
So hopefully that helps, and hopefully that makes sense. I know it was a long tangent there. Our first proper tangent of the year.
Hooray!
Yay! But a lot of, and this again, going back to that question, a lot of those issues where I don't know how to push my shot, I don't know what I need to do to exaggerate my shot, those all come from asking questions about your character.
And that comes from the acting.
Yeah. And then kind of on that character from this list here, another thing to keep in mind, and we're going to talk about this in Kanto, is reacting. A lot of acting, a lot of living, honestly, is reacting to situations. And making sure your characters react properly is a really good way of pushing that realism in your scene.
Because if a character doesn't react to the things around them, it feels like characters are living in their own bubbles.
Yeah.
They're completely separate from each other, doing their own things, and there's no connection to the world they're in. If a character reacts to things, if they react to the people around them, the objects around them.
Mm-hmm.
That adds a lot of, well, we react to everything in our
Yeah.
world. Like just me adjusting my mic here.
I just reacted to you saying we react to the world by going, yeah.
Yeah. That was another reaction. You look at that, all these reactions.
Yeah. When you start
It's-
seeing the world as a bunch of reactions, it's amazing how far it goes.
Yeah, it's just one reaction after another. It's a domino effect of reactions.
Now, there's a question here. Are there any books you'd recommend for cinematography and for acting? For cinematography, I would recommend 2 books. One is The 5 C's of Cinematography. The other is, what's the story book? Directing the Story
Yes.
by Francis Glebas, I think Glebas.
Lebas.
I forget it exactly, but I love that book. That's a great
Yes.
book on storyboarding. In terms of acting, off the top of my head, I can't think of any like really solid acting books. I'll have to think about that. There is if you click or if you
Reading
hover
acting
over
for
your
animators.
mouse. Well,
That's a
acting
good
for
one.
animators, yeah, that was pretty good. If you move your mouse over the video here, right up there somewhere, there should be a button with a whole bunch of recommended books and links to them. That should still be active. And speaking of your acting, how do I start to plan a 2-character fight scene? Well, let's actually go through the list here. There's a few more things, and then we'll go over your question right there. So the last category on this list is cinematography. This technically is the staging principle of animation.
Mm-hmm.
So when we say staging in animation, that's how does the character look on screen? That's the cinematography.
It's the framing of your camera, the position of your camera,
Mhm.
where your character is on the screen,
Yeah.
what is in the scene. All these things tell a story.
Yeah. What
A
type
lot
of
of-
shot is it? Is it a medium shot, close up, establishing all of those?
That all plays into how your shot will feel.
Mhm.
You can have the exact same shot with the exact same animation, exactly the same.
Mhm.
And just changing the camera can give a completely different feel to the entire thing.
Yeah.
So being aware of your staging is not just a matter of, well, characters are on screen, good staging.
Yeah.
It's thinking, kind of going back to the acting.
Mhm.
Your staging, your camera is its own character. Your camera is
Well, it's
the audience.
Yeah.
So you, as the audience, you are a character. Why are you looking at the shot the way you are? Where are you?
Mhm.
When are you? Are you looking at this shot in a flashback? Are you looking at it in the moment?
Mhm.
Like, why are you there?
Yeah.
Asking these questions about the camera, about the character, about the audience is going to help you figure out what you're trying to tell with this story.
Mhm.
Do you want it to be a heavy, intense moment? So you're going to get the camera right in there, kind of like what we have here with these characters in this screenshot of Encanto.
Yeah. Let me hide
The camera is
the,
really close to them. It's not a full body shot. It's very close. So that will completely change the mood.
Mhm.
If this was a wide shot and you could see their feet and the background a lot, it wouldn't have the same
that
intensity.
claustrophobic feeling of these two characters like face to face.
Mm-hmm. So definitely think of your camera as a character
Mhm.
and plan your camera. Think about
Yeah.
how you want to position your camera. And a good way to study this is, again, that book that was mentioned earlier, and also watch movies.
Yeah.
If you want to get a specific feel in your scene, think of a movie that had a similar feel, like
Mhm.
Zootopia or Wreck-It Ralph
Or Lord of the Rings, if you want something
Encanto.
like that epic scope of a battle. Look at that. That's a great example of
If you
many
want something to
epic
feel
battles.
terrifying, look at some good horror movies.
Mhm. Yeah.
Like, study how they do the camera work in a horror movie.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with going, man, I really want to get this feeling to my shot. Let's look at something else that did it really well and not copy it, but
No.
get inspiration from it.
Don't just reposition the characters to match exactly their scene. Don't just copy their movie,
But
but
be inspired
it.
by it. Study it. Learn from it. If you're just going, oh, I need a camera, I don't know what to do, I'll put it in anyway and just play around with it. you might get something good, but more often than not, it's just kind of a camera. It's there.
Yeah.
So two of the questions that I often ask myself whenever I'm positioning a camera or even just looking at a film and analyzing it that really help me are, what is the feeling? What is the feeling that the camera is supposed to give for the characters? So kind of going back to the image here, is this claustrophobic, like in your face feeling? So the camera's right up next to them. It's helping to enhance that feeling. But also, there will be moments where, what do we want the audience to feel? Do we want the audience to feel like the character is alone? Do we want the audience to know something that the character doesn't? Maybe the character is all happy and walking down the street, but we want to create this feeling of dread for the audience where they know something's going to go wrong. It is a good example of that, where the kids are just doing their own thing, and you know that Pennywise is going to come out and like horrify a bunch of people in just a little bit. And that's all done with the camera and how they position the camera, how they move the camera. So there will be times when the characters are going to feel a certain way, but we want the audience to feel a different way.
Yeah. Your camera isn't just copying the characters.
So ask yourself these questions. So all of that to say, this list is some of the items that we will go through when we're analyzing film, when we're analyzing anything, when we're looking at our own shots and trying to improve them. And like I said, there are some things that I haven't put on there. Once I get all of them, I'll share this image with everyone. Until then, feel free to screenshot this and keep a copy for yourself.
Again, screenshot.
Yep. There you go. I can't raise my arm.